It was the winter of 2003 when Emily and her friends decided to explore the infamous house on Maple Street. The house had been abandoned for over 20 years, and rumors about it had circulated through the town for as long as anyone could remember. Some said it was haunted by the spirits of the previous owners, while others believed it was cursed. Emily had always been intrigued by the supernatural. She loved reading ghost stories, watching horror movies, and visiting eerie locations. So when she heard her friends talking about the house one cold December evening, she couldn't resist. They arrived at the house as night began to fall. The old Victorian mansion loomed ahead, its windows dark and its roof caved in. The door creaked when they pushed it open, and the smell of rot and decay hit them immediately. Inside, the house was much colder than outside, and a strange silence hung in the air. They wandered through the dusty rooms, their flashlights cutting through the thick darkness. As they reached the staircase, Emily noticed a faded photograph on the wall. It was a family portrait, but the faces had been scratched out. She shuddered but said nothing. Suddenly the air grew even colder. Emily's flashlight flickered, and she heard a soft whisper, too faint to understand, but enough to send a chill down her spine. Her friends didn't seem to notice, too busy exploring the rest of the house. They made their way to the basement, where the air smelled of mold and old stone. The stairs creaked under their weight as they descended. When they reached the bottom, Emily heard a loud thud from upstairs, followed by the sound of footsteps moving across the floor above them. Her heart raced. "Did you hear that?" she asked, but her friends just laughed it off. As they explored the basement, Emily felt a strange presence, as though someone was watching them. She turned around, but no one was there. The footsteps upstairs grew louder, now seeming to move toward the stairs. Panic started to rise in Emily's chest. Her friends were still oblivious, picking through old furniture and rusted tools. Emily decided to go upstairs to check if anyone was there, but as she reached the top of the stairs, the door slammed shut behind her. She spun around trying to open it, but it wouldn't budge. "Let me out," she screamed, banging on the door, but there was no answer. Then she heard something else, scratching noises from behind the walls. Her flashlight flickered again, casting eerie shadows across the hallway. Suddenly, the door opened and her friends rushed in, looking terrified. They told her that they had seen strange lights flickering in the windows and heard loud banging noises coming from the basement. As they ran down to leave, Emily noticed something on the floor. It was the same photograph she had seen earlier, but now one of the faces was visible again. It was a woman with hollow eyes, staring directly at Emily. They ran out of the house, terrified, but when they turned around, the front door slammed shut behind them. They never spoke of that night again. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed her home. For weeks afterward, she experienced strange occurrences. Voices in the dark, objects moving on their own, and cold spots in her room. One night, as she lay in bed, she heard the whisper again, but this time it was clear. "You shouldn't have come." Emily moved away from the town a year later, but the memories of that night haunted her for the rest of her life. The house on Maple Street was eventually torn down, but some say the spirits still linger, waiting for the next curious soul to enter.